Welcome to Psychic Insights, where pop culture meets higher consciousness and the tea is always a little bit mystical. I'm Robin Richardson, your psychic girlfriend, and around here we don't just watch the drama unfold. We read the energy behind it, whether it's celebrity scandals, reality TV, chaos, or true crime with a twist. I'm tuning in to bring you the intuitive scoop the headlines miss. So buckle up, because your aura's about to get entertained. Welcome back to my channel. It's Robin Richardson, your psychic girlfriend. And the story, the Laura Owens saga continues, and I'm here for it, and I'm glad you are. So thank you for being here. And as always, I want to clearly state that this video is for entertainment and spiritual reflection purposes only. All right, so what I'm doing today is sharing my intuitive and energetic interpretation of a publicly filed document. There it is. And a psychic Lenormand reading, the same way I approach most of my videos. So first, let's ground in facts. This case involves our girl Laura Michelle Owens, who is currently facing 14 felony charges in Maricopa County, Arizona. Don't know what's going on in Maricopa County, but seems to be a lot of crime over there. Anyway, the allegations in this case include things like fraudulent schemes, forgery-related conduct, false statements under oath, and evidence-related violations. And this is not a crime of passion type. It's a document-heavy based case. All right. This matters because the prosecution doesn't have to show that actions happened. They have to show that those actions were knowing, intentional, and deliberate. And that's important context for what we're about to talk about. So this new document was recently filed in this case, and on the surface it looks routine. It's called a Notice of Defenses and Request for Notice of Rebuttal Witnesses. And I thought to myself, what does that mean? Because I don't commit felony things. I follow the rules. All right, but this is a procedural filing, and then sometimes something that defense attorneys are required to submit where they formally notify the court which defenses they may rely on at trial. And that word may is doing a lot of work, because these checkboxes aren't random. They're strategic. And in this document, the defense preserved the following defenses: mere presence, duress, illegal searches, lack of specific intent, no criminal intent, insufficiency of state evidence. And what stood out to me immediately was not what was not checked. And there's no alibi, no mistake or accident defense, no insanity or diminished capacity defense, no alternative explanation of events. This is not a filing that says, here's what really happened. This is a filing that says, we're going to challenge intent, procedure, and evidence. And that tells us something. It suggests a containment strategy, not an expansion strategy. When I saw this filing energetically, it felt like the legal strategy and energetic reality were mirroring each other. So I asked a different question, because you know me, I do. Not who wins this case, but what is the likely energetic outcome of this case? And we have our Lenormand cards. And the main spread I picked was tree, fish, tower, rider, coffin, which shows up a lot in her readings. Oh, and house. What happened to my house? House. Okay. All right, so let me walk you through this, because I thought it was fascinating. Now, the tree represents something long-standing, deep roots, a pattern that didn't start yesterday, which makes a lot of sense, right? It tells me immediately that whatever is being addressed here has been in motion for a long time. Now, the fish tells us about resources, flow, expansion, and sometimes overextension. Together, the tree and fish, I should not hold all my cards at the same time. Tree and fish show a long-running survival or resource-based pattern, something that worked for a while something that grew, something that felt sustaining, until it didn't. Then we hit the tower. Where's our tower? Then we've got our tower. And this is unmistakable. This is court energy. This is an institution, authority, oversight. Energetically, the tower cuts into our tree and our fish flow. And this is a moment where external authority intervenes in something that had previously been self-regulated. Control shifts. Next is our rider. And this tells me that once the institution steps in, things move fast. Filings, decisions, momentum shifts. This is not delay energy. Then comes our coffin. And coffin is an ending, not a pause, not a setback. The ending that does not reopen. Something is shut down permanently. And what's important is what comes after the coffin. And that's our house. That's our house. House represents private life, personal space, retreat, containment. Ending at house tells me the outcome of this case does not move outward into public restoration or expansion. It moves inward. This is not back to normal. This is withdrawal and reorganization behind closed doors. Now, how to understand how this ending happens, I pulled some clarifiers, and we got stars, and we got the ring. And this combination is very clear energetically. Stars represent destiny, inevitability, alignment with a larger order. And ring represents contracts, binding agreements, commitments that lock something in. And together this points strongly to a formal binding resolution. Not chaos, not a dramatic public trial climax. Some of us were hoping for that, but it doesn't look like it from the cards. We'll see what happens. But an agreement that finalizes the situation. Once this locks in, it's done. Now, what's important to say here is this: what the spread does not show. There's no sun, no key, no crown. Those are victories or successes or elevation cards. Instead, the energy is about closure, containment, and conclusion. So when you line up the defense strategy in this filing, the focus on intent and procedure rather than explanation, and the psychic story behind the cards, a consistent picture emerges. This case does not look energetically headed towards public vindication or expansion. It looks like it's headed towards an enforced ending, initiated by authority, resolved through a binding agreement, followed by a retreat into private life, quiet, final, and contained. And again, I want to be very clear, this is not a statement of guilt or innocence, and it's certainly not legal advice. You don't want that from a psychic. These are my psychic insights, offered for entertainment purposes and spiritual reflection only, based on publicly available information and my interpretation intuitively. So if you enjoy this kind of psychic commentary where intuition meets real world events, well, make sure you're subscribed. And as always, I'm Robin Richardson, your psychic girlfriend, and I am so happy you're here, and I will see you in the next one.